So this is going to be a tutorial on how to model this rim. This is actually a rim for my brother's truck that I'm currently working on. So first what I like to do is look at the basics. It's really hard edged. Basic shape is going to be a cone. Start top here, bottom of the cone there, then the rest are just extrusions. But if you draw out the wireframe, here's what it'll look like. So comparing the two, kind of crummy circle, but whatever, you get the idea. Be mostly quads, very few tries, like somewhere within here. Most likely there's going to be some illegals in there, but this can all be fixed later on. Right now this is the basic form, so this is what we will start with. Okay, so we're here in Max, and this is where we will do most of the magic. I'll go through everything just so any new people, I guess, can see how this all works. I did two drawings where it was actually the front as well. So this is going to give me the exact modeling template that I want. Match bitmap, lock and zoom pan. There we go. So, as I said, start out with the cylinder. And with counting all of these points around, it comes out to 21, so we'll change that. And I want this straight edge to go with this top one. Just because instead of trying to rotate this and get it correct, I'd rather just do this. There we go. It's about pretty close to what we want. And I will get quiet, so this is just the basics. So go ahead, put on music, whatever you want. There will be times where I change things up. I just do it on the fly, just because I like doing it. Probably shouldn't have drawn the lines in red, seeing as how it makes a red selection, but whatever. Okay, so we're back to this. Now, if you see, all these edges aren't exactly lined up perfectly. I was expecting that. Really, the only main ones that I'm going to look at is this for most of my template, and occasionally maybe the bottom ones, because this is also straight down. So you'll see if I was to just extrude this, I'm kind of going randomly off of scale, which I do not want. I want exact. So what I'll do is make a duplicate of this, make an instance so we can make changes and it'll affect all the other ones. So I want this to be exact. This doesn't work for me. I want it lined perfectly. And this is just an exact from what I rotated earlier. You see the lines are right on top of each other. This is just me being anal about the numbers. So as you can see, it's right on top. And this will give us an exact straight. So you see this is going a little too far out compared to this one. I'm going to kind of keep it to this length, so watch the distance on this. But this is going to stay like this for extra help. Now, instead of rotating the rest of these and taking up about 10 minutes, I've already done that. So let me unhide all these pieces. Come on. Unhide all. There we go. And these are all the pieces that I got. Yes. They all move off of each other. Everything's exact. All the lines are perfect. So this is what we will start with. Okay, so obviously I'm missing this one, so easy fix. Instance horizontal. Booyah. I want to mainly work with this one and this one, so the rest will just freeze. Now let's keep this. Now originally this went to here, but I found out that if I make it to this and then when I bend this later, the bend is going to push it far back and it's going to come about to here, so I'm going to keep going about up here. About up here should be fine. And now we want this edge to match. Let's go straight here. I want this to follow this curve, so once again the template's just there as a template, not exact. As you see, everything else is already starting to form. That's pretty good. And just in case if you ever want to get rid of a line while getting rid of the verts at the same time, hold Control and Backspace. That's how you get rid of that. So now I want this to stay straight and then for it to curve up here because this area is flat, exact rectangle. Now I want this to go up here, but then I'm running into that hole. I don't know if this is an exact, so I'll use this bottom one. Hold Control, click verts instead of just being a lazy selecting it like I am. Weld exact middle. See, this one's going further out from here, so bring it in about there, middle ground. That's fine. Once again, I want it exact straight, so back to this one. About right there. Now here's where I want the rest of these lines to kind of match, connect. 5 should do it for when we rotate this, or bend it. But I want this one to stay pretty close to this line, so connect, bring that down, move. Control backspace. Solved. And we're going to take this line and just straight it out this way. Actually, I should keep that. Okay. Okay, now I want to fill in these extra gaps, so this is where it's going to get a little tricky. And freeze all. I want this one and this one. Oop. Now, Alt Q to isolate. I want to break the connection on this. So now whenever I move something, it doesn't affect these other ones. You will see why right now. I want to get rid of all this, because this is the missing part to that side. So, this one, attach it, and this is still unique, or it matches all the other ones, so attach. When it does that, it means that the normals flip, so just reverse, or flip. Or I just did the opposite. There we go. Verts, weld the set, then bring all this down, or else you have that problem. So just bring this up to a little bit so they match. Now when we go back to here, all these pieces are filled, but there's going to be some overlap, so just select, hit Control I to inverse. This is an extra one, and he's gone. Now sometimes they will overlap just like this one is, but that we're going to take care of a little later. Okay, so right now what I want to do is assign numbers to certain parts. So these ones, these faces, I want to name, say, 5. Then I want these minus this. This is just going to be easier later down the line when I have to make selections of all these, and having to go in and select each and every one on each side is just going to be too much, so let's do it now. 6. And these, I guess we can leave like this for now. That's fine. Well, maybe this. Okay, so each one has its own set. Then now these are supposed to have some depth to this, so let's choose too far out. And push this back. And now in the real one it kind of tapers in a bit, so I want to fix that. So let's select these ones. And this as well. I like that's pretty good. And I usually like to keep my history on, just so I can go back later on and fix something. Maybe. No, that right there's fine. Okay, so now I just realized that I messed something up down here. See, this should not be here. So, easy fix. Then get that there, and just flatten this. Okay. Better. No more mistakes. Something like that can cost you later down the road when you're trying to fix all this stuff or sew it together. That could be a major pain. Okay, so now I want to add the bend into this. So I don't want to add the bend on everything, I just want to add the bend on this top stuff. I don't want this to bend at all. So I want it to bend that way. And obviously that's not exactly how I want it. It's kind of cool. Looks like a weird creature. But I want to affect the limits. And you see that it's kind of pinching right here. I want this to be down here so that it doesn't affect anything. About right there. Now then push this out, and voila, the flower opens. Let's get it to about right there maybe. That seems pretty good right there. Let's just see what a mesh smooth looks like. I always like to do that. Now it's obviously too smooth, but later on we're going to pinch everything and all that stuff will work. Okay, cool. Okay, so now we're going to fix some stuff. This should actually go down to a straight line, so I guess about right there. that's just so later on when it's going to pinch right there to make kind of like a hard edge. Kind of like that. So now we have that part. It's actually pretty good right there. I'm going to leave it like this. It's technically 1, 2, 3, 4, so it's not an illegal polygon, just because it looks a little wonky. Now up here, we want this to connect up here eventually, but with the way that it is, that will be a pain. So I want this flat. So instead of just going this route, I'm going to actually use the sliced plane, rotate it, and about right there. Slice, and click it, done. And goes up, and it also kind of curls out a bit, as the reference photo suggests. Goes a little bit like that, so that's what we want. Same a bit like that. Just holding shift to extrude those lines. About right there. Weld. So that's fine. And once again, oops. There we go. And that'll help us for when we do the large cylinder around to complete the outer of the rim. No, it's not going to. I know it's straight right now, but it will curve later on once we get to that, but that's further down the line. Now let's get down to this part, the inner circle. And just to see how this looks, turn mesh smooth on. Yeah, I hate does this little weird triangle thing, but when you render it, barely even notice, and you're going to look at it from this far, so not like it's that much of a problem. Okay. And this is just for a bevel that's actually in the actual rim itself. But once again, that's later down the line. Okay, so now this is pretty much good with this shape. Let's save as an extra scene so that we have this old one to go back to and fix. Because now we're going to start welding everything, combining it all together. So I want to break the connection on that. And on this one, I'm going to get rid of all these. let's attach the rest of these. Fix the normals on these. Get rid of these. So we're going to do that to the rest of this. Oops. I'm going to keep that one, or else that will mess everything up. Get rid of that. Cool. So now we can weld all this together. Too strong. Okay. See, make sure everything's sewn together. No holes, that's good. Okay. Now let's give some depth to all of this. Okay. Yeah, I know, I get quiet. Basic form with a smooth, and then next we will start to actually harden all these edges. That's where it gets real tricky. Okay, so I want the backs of this rim to kind of be full, because I don't know if ever I'm going to be seeing the back of it. So just in case, we will do that. So I already made a mesh for it, just to save time. And all it is just, I took the old file and then just bridged each one. And since all these were instanced, it just instanced around, welded it, connected it all, and here we go. We have this. So, weld this together now. Hold control on verts. So let's weld, or Let's mesh smooth to see. Make sure that there's no holes. Looks like a weird octopus kind of thingy, or Staryu from Pokemon. Yeah, nerd. Okay. Save. Okay, so now we want to start making this look like the real thing. So, with the mesh smooth on, it's all smooth, too smooth. There's no hard edges at all. So now, what we want to do, start going into each one. And thankfully, since I set IDs on all this stuff, this makes this so much more easier. Bevel, and we want to go to about 0.7, negative 0.7. So that gets us some good hard edges there. Same here. Select, cut those, bevel. Then it keeps the same, negative 0.7, just so it goes all around. A lot better now. Definitely a lot better. Now, a little bevel that goes on here. But this one's too much, so just a bit, and actually some height so that the bump happens. So you see, like that. Nice. Okay, and then we want this line to pinch to keep kind of that hard edge, so select all of these. Keep this 0.4 and 0.2 or 1. So now we got that. And now we want this cut that goes around is actually ends up being an extrusion inside of the mesh. So I had to add a poly always underneath the mesh smooth, or else you're going to screw up your model. And let's start selecting. Tedious process. Selecting. And because that some of these have triangles, it won't keep going. But luckily, most of it is quads. Cool. And extrude. We want to go in about -2. And that's already pretty damn close. But we got some little pinching, and we want to give this a little bit of a depth or widening, because we want that. If we don't have it, then later on when we do weld, it's going to weld everything together and we're going to get problems. So just enough like that works. Okay. Now, since you're still in edge selection, grow, hold control, click vert, get those selected. See that? We want to get rid of that. So we're going to weld these. those changed. We want that welded. And now, nice round. So that's pretty damn good. Now, this slightly bothers me if you can kind of see this little line that's in here. And it's due to the fact that these are so close. So we can just take these and weld all those together. Let's weld this. We want those to connect like that. Ooh, too much. Right there. Giving us. Voila. Now that is pretty damn close to the real thing. Next we'll go to welding the outer edge. Okay, so now we want to put the outer rim in here. So this is a cylinder, just straight out matching kind of the amount, and it has the same pivot as the mesh that we've been working on. So that has to be. And after doing some math, basically, I was able to get it to where it's 84 sides and it matches up with each one of these ends. So what we want to do is now weld it. And right now it's the opposite of what we want, so we gotta flip the normals. Now that's what we need. Now you see some of these don't exactly line up, so that's easy. We just got to chamfer, or chamfer, whatever you want to call it. Right there, and we need the middle one. Booyah. And we need segments running around, so ring, connect. Right there will do. Now we got to move the original mesh to kind of match the slope. But if we do that, we're going to have to match everything else. So let's use the push modifier just to push this out. Say about right there. It's a good middle ground. this and just detach it, just so it's not in our way. Don't need these back pieces. Make sure that there are no holes. Looks good. Just double check. Cool. Now comes the tedious task of doing it to every other part around this. So I'm going to spare you doing that, and I'll do it myself. You guys can obviously just do the same. So yeah, next part will be right after I'm done. So that's what we have now. Everything's one beautiful mesh. Could probably pull this out. But right there. Yeah. Now, if you want, you can go in and start kind of getting rid of some edges that we don't really need, because right now it's pretty hefty mesh. But I think it's pretty well worth it. Put a chrome on this, it looked really good. I think I'm probably going to do a test and see if I can get rid of probably every other line, see how that comes out. I just don't want it to affect the outer circle, or else you'll get a weird kind of pentagon-ish shape. But yes, as of right now, that's pretty much how to model a rim. Then if you want, you can do the whole beveling and all that stuff, but this one's pretty basic. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. And look out for more videos to come. Maybe I'll post up this as nice chrome render. Alright. Okay, so I was able to actually go in and take down the amount of the polygons. Originally the polys were about 30,000, so now I got it to 26,000, and the outer rim's a bit more beveled, kind of like how the real rim is. Nothing too fancy, so it's pretty good for poly. The depth of it is correct, and as you can see, I just said screw it and made tries basically. So now clean up topology. It's all pretty good. And with the mesh smooth, you can't tell, so it's okay to have some tries as long as areas like that. I just don't want to have to worry about this chugging once this is duplicated a couple more times. So yeah, this is the rim's final mesh. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks. Bye.